We know we've talked about the reboot quite a bit, but this is the future of Power Rangers, and we need to keep talking about it. According to rumors on the internet, the new Power Rangers project is going to be about a new team and not the story of an old team that we already know. This is basically the same thing that happened in the 2017 movie, which was supposed to be a reboot of the franchise, and they started with the Mighty Morphin story. In this movie they only used the names and some important things about the characters, but they completely changed the origin story of each character. They also changed the origin story of the entire team, including the story of Zordon and also the villain Rita Repulsa. It was assumed that if the movie had been a success, then they would make a sequel, which was going to include Tommy Oliver, and we assumed that this was going to be an interesting story. As far as we managed to understand, at the end of this first movie we could see that Rita froze in space, and this made us think that she passed away. If this was the case, then what was Tommy's story going to be like without Rita? In the TV series we all know that Tommy started being a Power Ranger thanks to Rita Repulsa, who gave him the Green Ranger power to destroy the other Power Rangers. If in the second 2017 Power Rangers movie Rita wasn't going to appear, then Tommy Oliver's story was going to be very different, and perhaps the reboot of the franchise would have taken a very different direction. Unfortunately, we fans didn't take all the changes very well, and possibly changing the story from another story we already knew was a mistake, since Mighty Morphin is the foundation of the franchise. This team is the most famous of all, and changing the entire story was like destroying something we love to build something else. This detracted from the importance of the new story, and this was the first step towards the failure of that project. Despite this, the producers had another alternative that they did not use if they wanted to do the Mighty Morphin story again. Obviously, another alternative was to create a new team, and there they could create any story. But if the intention of the producers was to use the Mighty Morphin team, then there was another alternative. In that 2017 movie they used the Mighty Morphin team, but they changed absolutely everything, and the only thing they had similar to the original team of the TV series were the names of the characters. What would have happened if the producers had stuck more to the TV series? This is the other alternative they had, and it is still an alternative that the new producers of the reboot have. Although the rumor is that they are going to create a new team with a new story, this is still not official, since no one knows anything about the script that is already created, and that is why we can still speculate. This other alternative to use the Mighty Morphin team, or maybe any other team of the franchise that we already know, is that they just make an improvement of everything we have already seen. This means continuing to use the same concept, the same story, and the same characters, but completely changing the visual quality. They could also change some things about the story so that it can be a darker series, and this includes changing the visual style of everything. The 2017 movie had a new style which was quite dark and dramatic, but because they changed the costumes, weapons, and some important story details, it caused us to not feel like they were the Mighty Morphin. However, if they use a similar costume design to the originals but improve the material to make them look like Mighty Morphin costumes, then everything is going to feel different. This also includes modifying the weapons, Zords, command center, and all the special effects. I don't want you to be confused by this idea. This is not similar to what we saw in the 30th anniversary special episode, as even though the visual quality of that episode was much better than what we saw in 1993, this could be much better. Previously, we have featured some designs of the Ranger costumes that amazing artists have created, and when you see those designs you can identify each Ranger, but you also realize that the costume does actually have a better quality look to it. We have also presented on the channel some Zord designs which look like real machines, but they don't lose the style that we saw in the Mighty Morphin team. Basically, it would be like seeing the Mighty Morphin in an improved universe, with an incredible quality and in a darker version. This whole path may have many benefits, although it obviously also includes risks, but perhaps the risks are not as great as starting with a new team. First, let's define all the risks that the reboot is going to have by creating a new team and a new story. Being a new team, then they don't know if that whole story is going to work, they don't know if the fans are going to love the characters, and they don't know if the style that the team is going to have will be liked by the viewers. Remember that there have been seasons that have failed because of the lousy theming they have had, since this is an important part for every team. Even, I dare to say that this was another reason why the 2017 movie failed, as that team had no theming and were just generic costumes with different colors. Another risk the reboot has in creating a new team is the villains, as all superhero projects always have to have a great villain to be a success. Obviously, all of these things also represent a big advantage in a way, as it gives a lot of creative freedom to the producers to be able to create a great team with an awesome theme and a spectacular villain. It also gives them the opportunity to create a story that they can think about with another story in the long run to create a connected universe, and this would give life to the franchise for many years to come. Unfortunately, this is easy to say, but not so easy to do, since it all hinges on the first season. If the fans don't love that first season, then it is very difficult for them to create more seasons or movies. Now let's name the advantages and disadvantages that the reboot can have using the Mighty Morphin team, but with an improved visual quality. The first advantage they have is that the Mighty Morphin is already a team that many fans love, and even though they would use different actors to portray each character, still, I think with the right actors they could make the fans continue to love the team. The other advantage they have is that the Mighty Morphin villains are excellent and have a lot of potential to be improved. Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed would be excellent villains if they could be in an adult project, with a darker style where they could show all their real evil. The other advantage is that the Mighty Morphin theme is already proven to be one of the best, and this also includes the music, which is the most famous. If in the reboot they use that theme, that music, the costume design, and the Zords, but with a better visual quality, then it could be something awesome. Since the Mighty Morphin story is a bit repetitive thanks to the style that was used in the TV series, then they can create a new story starting from the basic things we saw from the beginning of the series. This is basically the same thing they did in the comics, and it has worked great for them. Write in the comments how you would like the reboot to go, like this video and subscribe for more Power Rangers reboot theories.